Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Rigging on Thursday with the coach. Jordan just informed me we're right on time today, so that's excellent, especially after the debacle we had last week. I know that other parts of the United States are being affected tremendously by the weather. We're praying for all the people that are having all the problems. We've had lots of rain here, and it's cold, really cold here, but we was managed to dodge a snow bullet, so that was good. I got Jordan with me today. We're going to do just a quick show and talk about some stuff today. But first thing, I think Jordan has a couple of questions left over from last week he was going to hit me with, and then we'll move on from there. So let's just go ahead and get those two questions, Jordan, then we'll move into today's show.
Okay, so my first one comes from Saltwater Redneck. He's wondering,
all right,
what is the best football jig trailer for winter?
Well, I personally don't really change my trailer a lot in the winter. And a lot of anglers I talk to, they'll downsize to like one of our swimming craws, which is only 3-inch, or maybe a Yo Daddy, which is a 3-inch profile. I pretty much standardly use that either a kamikaze crawl, which is 3.75, or I use a 4-inch fighting frog on my jig deep. So I don't really change a whole lot. I just want to make sure I remind you to stay slow, keep your bait working slow in the winter months because the water's cold. Definitely.
Okay. Now Cody B is wondering, what size pro swimmer do you recommend for spinner baits and swim jigs?
Either a 3.3 or a 3.8. I know the 3.8 works really nicely on the back of like a chatterbait, on the back of a swim jig. For years on my spinner bait, I just used a 3-inch curly tail grub. So if I did either a 2.8 or a 3.3, you should be fine. It kind of depends on how heavy you want your spinner bait to feel. If your spinnerbait feels really heavy, then you can cut your trailer down and make it feel a little bit lighter when you're pulling it. So that's kind of how I look at it. If I were going to do that for sure. And then another way, I'll throw this in on your spinnerbait, just kind of throw you something that's out of left field. A lot of the guys I know throw a 5-inch suicide shell on their spinnerbait, so that's something even totally different you could look at possibly.
Okay, my next one I think will pertain to our presentation. Austin H is wondering when to use a swim on versus the pro swimmer as a trailer.
I think that's a matter of preference. I think that's kind of like a fad to a certain extent. The last couple of years, everybody's been using like a swim type bait behind their chatterbait. That was what most of the elite anglers were using, and a lot of times we'll follow suit with them guys because they're the best in the business, And then now that the fork tail type trailers come out, like for example, like the Swim On here. And so that's becoming real popular too. So I don't think you can go wrong. Normally on my deck, I'll rig one of both. Mm-hmm. I'll have I know what color chatterbait's really working. So say I'm using a white chatterbait, then I'll have a white pro swimmer on one, and I'll have a white swim on the other, and I'll kind of figure out which one they like. You can pick your rod up, make 10 casts, lay it down, pick your other one up 10 casts, and you're going to figure out which one they're biting. So that's kind of food for thought. And then whenever I figure out what I like, I'll put the other one down and won't use it anymore. So that's a way you can kind of handle it or maybe figure it out. So, and then some guys just like to do their preference, Some guys like to go with a shad, some guys like to go with a split tail type bait. So that's, I will say this, when the chatterbait first came out years ago, they came in, a plastic double tail split eel came in the package with them. So I think in the beginning it was kind of programmed to go that way. So that's food for thought anyway. So we want to get on to today's show. Let's talk a little bit about what we got. So I called today Flamethrower Thursday. Okay. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to just take a few minutes and talk about some of the variations of flamethrower baits that we have, and basically what you can do with them, how you can use them, and some of the things that's become more popular. So in the beginning, we developed just the flamethrower, and quickly we began to see that there was an appetite for one that you could use on a green pumpkin bait. So we went to the green pumpkin flamethrower, which all we did was add another color into it when we spun it up. So you could go either way. And obviously I've got this one on a green pumpkin jackhammer, and as you can see, it makes a nice little presentation with your green pumpkin with your red trailer if you just want the red trailer, okay? Or you could go and put the real flamethrower on and do the same thing. So that's one of the ways that that you could rig it up, all right? And I took a fire red crawl one today, which is a real popular color right now. It's hot, everybody's buying the red, and I put the 3.8 pro swimmer on it in the flamethrower color. Now we don't make it in a green pumpkin flamethrower, but that's a really nice looking presentation. And obviously you could come back and you can, how it all got started, we did the flamethrower first. to go on it. So you can go either route with that if you'd like to, you know. And I even know guys right now that are throwing that red trailer on all different colors of baits. It isn't just, you know, green pumpkin or it just red. I know guys putting on a black and blue one. I think they're just doing it they feel like, you know, that red maybe entices a strike. If you'll think back several years ago, people were putting the front hook on their crankbaits red, trying to entice a strike. So supposedly, scientifically, red maybe enhances your chance to get bit. So that's something to think about. Another thing I will share with you, we just introduced the sweet potato pie in it, which is it's beginning to sell real good. And it's in the same color spectrum as what we're talking about. It's just a sweet potato. It's got a little more black in it. It's got a little yellow in it. So that's another route you could go. This is on the height crawl, I believe this one is. And it's got the sweet potato pie on it. So you could go that route. Now it's something totally different than, you know, if you look around at your local dealer and see if you can find the sweet potato pie to swim on. Something totally different. So that's kind of the deal on that. Excuse me, my phone is blowing up here. Let me get rid of that. I knew that was going to happen. Now, one thing I want to show that's totally new today, that's why I set over here to the side. Jordan looked at me and said, why'd you set that over there to the side? Well, I got a surprise for everybody I want to share with you today. So we got to talking last week and we decided to come out with something new. Okay, so it's available as of today. It's ready to go. You can buy them. We did the Kamikaze Craw in Flamethrower. So you guys that like to use the Kamikaze Craw to flip, pitch, put on the back of a swim jig. I got it here on the back of a football jig. You can put it any way you want to put it. Now you can buy the Kamikaze Craw. It's 3.75 Kamikaze Craw and the 3-inch Kamikaze Craw, both in the Flamethrower color. So that's another way if you want to tip your jig now with a red craw, you've got it. I know that on my lake, that's probably going to be really good because we have like some red crawfish here. So about something new, I want to share that with. That's available now on the internet. Tomorrow. Start tomorrow. Okay, good. So definitely check that out and order you some and try them. So that's kind of what I wanted to do today. Now, I think, Jordan, you got quite a few questions about this that people have called in the last couple of weeks. So what we're going to try to do is kind of incorporate a little bit of a question and answer into this too. So let's do that while we're on the roll here.
Okay, so pertaining to what you just introduced there, Dan the fisherman is wondering the action on the Kamikaze Crawl versus the Kamikaze Swim On.
Okay, the Swim On doesn't have a ton of action. It's more subtle. It's designed to go behind, you know, that chatterbait's going to be vibrating left to right. Well, that Swim On's going to give a subtle swimming type kick behind it. But to like get a lot of movement, is it going to go woo, 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 woo? No. It's more of a subtle type trailer, but it's very effective. If you want something that's going to, in comparison, the Kamikaze Crawl, it kicks like no other. I mean, you can literally feel the pinchers beating on if you got a really good sensitive rod, I mean, they're going to be flapping big time, and it just puts a lot of dang action in the water and lots of vibration in the water. So if you want lots of vibration, this is a route to go, you know, as far as your appendages. They really are going to kick, and they have two distinct actions. So, and then, of course, the bonus on this is it's got the little holes that agitate the water and give you some bubbles every now and then. So something to think about, you know, definitely. Next one.
Okay. Well, Will Pender is wondering why throw orange baits.
I could cop out on that, Will, and say it's a fad right now. Everybody's on the orange deal. But here at my lake, our crawfish in the spring of the year are a red color. For years, we threw red rattle traps. We threw red colored crankbaits when the water was stained up. So why wouldn't a red plastic work? Common sense will tell you it's no different. You're feeding them the same forage. I mean, even out in the summer here, we throw that green pumpkin Texas red finesse worm, and it catches fish. It's just something about the fish in this lake where I live, they like red. And obviously, from what I've been seeing as far as sales go, there's lots of lakes that they like red in. So I just think that's a thing that, you know, it maybe had been overlooked, and everybody's kind of caught up to it now, you know. Let's go try some red. It seems to be working really well, at least for now, till the fish see it so much they get used to it anyway.
All right, that's all we have for right now, Les.
Okay, well, that was good. We enjoyed being with you today. It's kind of a short show, but we'll come back and catch up later. Anyway, we'll see y'all in Best Fishing. Hope the weather kind of maintains out for everybody from this point on.